assurance testing is one of those areas that organisations are fairly comfortable in terms of having those conversations and really having the understanding that it's something that at least has to be done on at least once a year. And pen testing as a part of that, I think, is really one of those areas that is used to really strengthen and actually assess, the validity of their, computer systems, their applications, and their overall internal and external environments, right? So, overall, the use of simulated attacks, if you can understand what an attack are, something that's potentially harmful to your environment is really going to do, but in a non-lethal way, I think it's a really, really powerful thing for organisations.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think what's really important is that validity, that validation piece. I think fundamentally when we're talking about assurance testing and pen testing, it's how are we proving that the systems we have in place are secure? How are we providing evidence that what we are doing is the right thing to do from a security perspective? And
also providing a level of guidance afterwards. I think, one of the most powerful things as part of a pen test is the report that comes afterwards. And a good pen test comes with a service that's actually able to, understand and break down what that report means. Are we able to give organisations a really good strategy and guidance off the back of that to really understand, okay, here's where the gaps lie and what could be done, whether or not it's policy, configuration, or tooling, what can the next steps be in regards to actually assessing some of those vulnerabilities?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, from a compliance standpoint especially, most, if not all, organisations have some form of requirement to test at least annually, and potentially more often than that. And one of the key ways that organisations can evidence to their customers, to their peers, and also to those auditing bodies that they are secure and they're following best practice is to get regular pen testing. I think fundamentally, yes, it's a security project. It's to identify those vulnerabilities, those windows of opportunity that a malicious actor might have and try and close those. But it's also to provide that assurance to the wider world that even when nothing's going wrong, they're still on top of it.
As part of that service, I think as bespoke as it can really be, having that visibility, that understanding, but there's also knock-on effects as well. If pen testers are able to spend time with an organisation's IT teams, there's almost a knowledge transfer as well, and you're able to get some really enriched information and knowledge and enablement in some cases as well in those areas.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that's where, from a Bytes perspective, I think what we offer is really compelling because we have such a flexible and a sort of blended approach to testing. The fact that we can go everything from the essentials of a vulnerability assessment all the way up to simulating a rogue actor joining as an employee, looking to see how they can access various amounts of information, see if they can exfiltrate that. I think having that approach to testing in its entirety is really important. It provides a much more real-world view on what sort of threats these organisations might be facing, rather than just a tick box exercise to appease the auditors.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think as part of that service as well, I think when you have that experience and that really real know-how in terms of how bespoke services can actually be done, we also acknowledge that you don't always want a single person to always check your homework. Everybody's going to have a different approach to how they test, different methodologies in regards to how they test, and they're going to pick up different things as well, right? And we always give reference to, as part of good practice, having a slight roulette in regards to who's testing your environments as well. And I think that's a really, really good benefit to Bytes, just having that ease of access, knowing that it's not just one sort of point, one perspective, but a multitude of different testers that's all going to have their different ways.
Absolutely right. It's that flexibility. It's reflecting the real world. There's not always one answer to one problem, and really just making sure that we can reflect the customer environment and the customer requirement. I mean, using multiple testers, sometimes from multiple companies that have different skill sets, use them when you want them, make sure that we're working to the budget that is agreed upon, and also fundamentally provide the results in a format that makes sense to the organisation. Pen testing and assurance testing shouldn't be an exercise in demonstrating how clever we are. it's all about focusing on the fix and how we can prioritize those weaknesses, those vulnerabilities, and make sure that they're remediated as soon as possible.